Hello and welcome to another video from oorail. This is a quick start video to show you how to get DCC running on a DC layout. Now this video assumes that you're going to swap out a DC controller for the DCC at least on one loop, and it assumes that if you're running multiple loops on your layout that you've had multiple DC controllers. So if I pan over here, you can see our setup. We have the Bachmann controller, if I move out of the way, over there in the corner, and then that's connected to some H&M equipment, and then this is used to control it. And then we have the H&M controller that controls the second loop. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this second loop, or the outside loop, controllable by this or via the Dynamis. So over here we've picked the Bachmann Dynamis controller, and the reason I picked this was I wanted to mess around with DCC, and this was actually on sale about a year ago from I think it was malltrainstuff.com, and it was like practically half price, so it was a really good deal. And it comes with this pretty slick wireless controller, and we've put some rechargeable batteries in there because it does seem to zap them pretty quickly. So it's relatively straightforward to hook this thing up. The Dynamis has this green connector that goes in the back and has two wires that go to the track. And so basically all you do is you take your two wires that were going into the back of your DC controller and put them in there. So because I wanted to switch back and forth between the two, what I decided to do was put in a kind of a somewhat safe wiring setup so that you could run and switch them back and forth between DC and DCC on one of the loops. Now, before I go any further, it's very important that you make sure before you try switching DCC and DC together that your track is completely isolated. So our two loops are completely isolated because we ran two power controllers. So for example, the crossovers have isolated fish plates. There's no wiring in place that joins the two loops together. You just do not want to connect the two. You don't want to connect two analog controllers together, but you really don't want to connect the DCC controller and the DC controller together at all. So you want to make sure that your two loops are totally isolated, and you've verified that. Now, one way to verify it is with a multimeter, and this is a multimeter that has the buzzer and open circuit. And basically what that allows you to do is, if I put that down, you take the two prongs and you touch them together and it beeps, and basically you know that there's some sort of connectivity going on. So what I do is basically just use this on the layout to make sure that nothing has been connected together, and I've confirmed that, so I can proceed. So if I pan the camera up here, you can see the end result of our wiring diagram. So what we've done here is we have a connector block, and basically it goes down here into the H&M controller, and then it has a set of piggyback wires that go into the connector block here that go to the track, and then these two wires go directly to the rails. Now over here on the other side of this block of wood, I have the exact same setup for the DCC controller. So there's two wires here that go down into DCC controller. They're orientated exactly the same way as this. So all I have to do to switch between DCC and DC is make sure first of all everything's turned off, and then undo this screw, move this cable over to the top of this connector block, undo this screw, remove this cable, connect it onto the other connector block, and now I'm running DCC. And it's as simple as that. Now, one of the problems I did run into was that there's a couple of fish plates, because the layout is so big, that just weren't cutting it for DCC. So I did have to run some dropper wires, and that's pretty easy to do. But what I'm able to do too is I'm able to verify which sort of wires connect which track. So simply, if you connect one end on this, then touch the appropriate rail until it beeps, like so, and that way you can figure out very easily which track is connected to which wire. So I'm going to go run those dropper wires, and we'll show you some of the DCC action on the oorail layout.